Have you ever found yourself feeling really frustrated and pigeonholed with a mainstream medical practitioner? In this video, I'm going to explore what's happening there and what you can do about it. So in a mainstream medical model, the human body and experience tends to be looked at through a series of relatively narrow perspectives or lenses. For example, if you have an issue with your heart, you will go and see a cardiologist, and they will look specifically at the functioning of your heart. If you have issues with your hormones, you'll likely go and see an endocrinologist. If you have issues with your gut, you would go and see a gastroenterologist. The medical world has specialists in these different disciplines, but here's the challenge. They typically don't communicate well together. This is where, on one's healing journey, one needs to become the captain of the ship of their own healing. The reason why I wanted to make this video was because recently, accompanying a family member to a series of medical appointments who had had a specific medical intervention with their heart, and the heart expert was very fixated on what's happening with the heart, but there were some other issues post-operative which were just kind of being ignored because they didn't fit the lens, the perspective that they were looking through. And this, as the person accompanying this loved one, was hugely frustrating. And in the end, had to sort of drive that path to go and see a more general practitioner to get a blood panel to be able to try and figure out what it was that was going on. And this can be such a challenge when you're suffering from a medically unexplained chronic illness. Because you go and see these different specialists, and sometimes you're lucky even to get the opportunity to go and do that, and you get told, oh, everything's fine, because they don't find anything wrong in their piece. Or they're working on a piece of the jigsaw that's impacting another piece, but those specialists are not in dialogue. In, of course, an ideal world, you would be working with an integrative medical center where they have those mainstream medicine specialists, which of course have a hugely important place, but there would be that real connected approach. Here at the Optimum Health Clinic, we work incredibly hard to firstly work with the mind, the emotions, and the physical body, and to have that joined up approach amongst practitioners, but also where we're either referring out or people are being referred in, or people are working with other medical professionals to try where possible to have that insight and to have that dialogue. Now, of course, the reason why a medical model works in this way is it takes a huge amount of experience to become a specialist in one discipline. In fact, it's a whole career's work for someone to master that discipline. So we need to have those specialists, but there needs to be that connected approach, because these distinctions between your heart, your hormones, your digestive system, and so on are entirely arbitrary. There are distinctions that we make to be able to map what's happening, but they are interconnected. For example, if our digestive system's not working in an optimum way, we're not absorbing nutrients in the ways that we need to from food, it's going to impact upon probably our hormones, because our stress hormones will work harder to compensate. If our hormones go out of balance, maybe it's going to impact upon our immune system or impact upon our nervous system. So when we're trying to understand and map complex cases, we can't just look at one piece of the jigsaw. We need to look at the whole jigsaw, but also how these different pieces of the jigsaw are connected to each other. And sometimes what can happen is one can get very fixated on a particular symptom or set of symptoms, not take the track back to what's behind those symptoms. And if we can work with what's behind the symptoms, we're actually treating the root cause of what is going on. And again, we need that integrative approach to be able to understand that. If you'd like to find out more about how we work here at the Optimum Health Clinic, and if we may be able to be helpful on your healing journey, the best way to do so is to book a free discovery call. You can find the link in the description below this video, where we can answer any questions that you may have. I hope that's been helpful. Thank you for watching.